Hey everybody, I'm here for the Oakland A's FanFest. I'm just going to tweet out where I'm at right now. Give me a second. That's the scene right there. So I'm going to share. There. Right. Now, I'm live. Okay. So, as I was saying, I'm here at the Oakland A's FanFest in a manner of moments. Right here. Right there. This is at Scott Seafood. See that? The procession will begin. So let's just kind of line up and wait. This will be a interesting part of Oakland Kana. Can you say that? Oakland Kana? Like Americana? Hold on a second. Go A's. That's right. Go A's. That's Mr. Zelensky. So when they start, they'll go from here at Scott's along this path right over here. Well, hold on a second, they're starting. Hold on a second, right there.
All right, hey, nice to see you. How's it going? Nice to be here. Great seeing you. Hey guys, how we doing? Hey, we're gonna be all right. We're gonna be great this year. We're gonna be more than all right.
How are you? There you go. Hey, how are you?
Hi, Ricky.
All right, Mark. Hey, we're not showing up last night.
Check Mark's there.
Well, look who it is.
By the palm proof.
Yeah, she was already here in the waterfront, but she's just here.
High five. High five. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, this is fun. You see that's the tower? Yeah, number 11. Bossy!
Yeah, boys!
How we doing, guys?
Seven guys.
Morning.
Morning, sir.
Morning.
Yeah.
Okay, great, man. That's okay, great.
What's up, bud?
Yeah.
How you doing?
Hey.
All right.
to it, boss.
So they go all the way down here, and I'll show you if you don't know Jack London Square. This is normally the office area, and this is all owned by the Port of Oakland.
Ricky Henderson. Hey! Hey, just say, man. What do you think about today?
Go away.
Hey, Chris, what are you gonna buy? What are you gonna buy?
Oh man, I gotta get some good A stuff, man. You know,
Get A stuff.
2018 season.
There you go.
Good. Is that any problem?
I'm gonna catch up. Okay.
Sorry, brother.
Yes, yeah.
That makes you feel better.
Maybe you should go.
Virtual reality. Try that. So you can buy A's tickets here. If you want to do that, you can buy, you see a virtual reality show back there. And you can just hang out with other A's fans. You can drink coffee and all that. So right now we're going over here to see what's going on in this direction.
Was that tight? Did she?
Oh, that guy that was talking is my friend Chris Dobbins. He is on the Coliseum Joint Powers Authority, as well as being a local attorney. So here.
Like, huh? I had to look up and see if you saw.
We're gonna go look at your players.
there.
Like Renetti, Dave Renetti is the director of stadium operations for the A's. He told me that they have taken over all of Jack London Square, the whole thing. So the whole thing.
You what?
And let's see here. Go around this way.
Holy that. Holy Toledo.
That was Bill King used to say that when he was announcing the A's broadcast. Holy Toledo.
Don't get nervous. Hey, not bad.
In case you're wondering where we're at, we're now at, this is the Jack London Glade, and this used to be the Port of Oakland's headquarters building, or annex here, right there. Now it's Rosenbaum Cellars, so there you go. So if you're wondering what we're waiting for, we're just waiting for the speeches to get started. Here we go. Thanks, nice to be home, if for a little bit. Thank you very much. How's the weather? Up, look behind you.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing? All right. You guys about 10 feet tall? Pretty cool. They've got to be about, I would say 8 feet tall. 10 feet tall. 9 feet. 9 feet. Yeah. 9 feet. You guys 9 feet tall? They're about, you know? Tall. Which one is your favorite? Which one is your favorite?
I think X the best.
Yeah.
No walks.
No.
That's why it was so good.
That's true. That's very true. cool. I get a shot of your glasses. That's pretty cool. Thanks. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Zenny 62 from Jack London Square in Oakland, California. This is the Oakland A's FanFest, and we're at the main event area. Back when the Raiders really cared about Oakland, they had their FanFest here. That was when Amy Trask was the CEO. So the A's kind of got their idea for FanFest from the Raiders and started doing this.
I don't know if this is on, but we're going to play another song here. When the guys are on second or third base scoring position, you'll hear us play Won't You Come Home, Bill Bailey, okay?
have sort of a generational dueling of bands, I guess you could call it.
Said we had 4 minutes, and that was about a 4-minute tune. So I think I think we're good. You want to see the players anyway, right?
And so we wait some more, folks. Right there.
There's like the better quality one, it's like 229, but this is 119. It's pretty much the same. This doesn't have the patch. Yeah. Really nice. This is good.
We're still waiting to see the players and the management, and they're going to come from this door over here, right over here. Right? See that? All right. Zoom in. Hey, for those of you keeping score, Howard Terminal actually is right over there. In fact, let me show you something. Well, hold on a second, because there's some other.
Literally.
It's going to get a little better shot here. What's going on there?
Right now.
I didn't see it. I literally didn't see it. Right. That's how we had it.
I think what it is.
Anyway, folks, the Howard Terminal is over in this direction. I'll show you right here. Right there. See that? There's a crane right over there. I'm pointing at it right there. That's where it's at, okay? So it's just not too far from here. Walking distance. That crane would have to come down, of course. So yeah. Let's see that. Waiting for people, folks. We're waiting for A's owners, players, managers, management, and all that sort of thing. Meanwhile,
How we doing, A's fans? I love it. Let's go, Oakland. Let's go, Oakland. It's going to be another special day, a very special day. We've got all the players. We've got all the stars. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Oakland A's FanFest 2018. I'm Chris Townsend from 95.7 The Game. I do the Oakland A's proudly pre- and post-game show. Love having you guys listening to us. And this is going to be a very special one because we're back Jack London Square in downtown Oakland. And remember, this is the 50th anniversary. What a special year this is going to be all year long, starting with FanFest right here. So we're going to have a very special day for you. We're going to have autograph sessions. We got the free food trucks again. And we have special activities stretching all the way to Harrison Street. So it's going to be a great time. Let's please welcome our 2018 Oakland Athletics. Well, first, ever since this guy showed up, things have been so much better. He's one of the best in the big leagues. He's been manager of the year. He's one of the great spots of this franchise, a cornerstone of this franchise, the great Bob Melvin. Give it up for Bob. How about an outfielder coming back? He was a fan favorite, and he's now the bench coach, Ryan Christensen. Well, this third base coach is just not a coach. He's one of the great third basemen of his generation. A World Series champion. He's been a big league manager. Welcome back, the big Marine, Matt Williams. This guy is managed. He's managed for the Yankees in AAA. He's a former big league shortstop. Please welcome Al Padrique. Our next coach has a big job this year. He's got a lot of young pitchers that he's going to have to get going. He did a great job in the second half. Scott Emerson, your pitching coach. But there's one thing we knew the A's could do last year, and that was hit jacks. The A's hit home runs, and the hitting coach is back once again, Darren Bush. Also helping with the pitching, he's done a great job in this organization for many, many years. Please welcome back Marcus Jensen, bullpen coach. And now let's get to the 2018 players. He's a Bay Area native, and boy, he threw the ball well for the A's last year. Went 3-1 for the A's, Paul Blackburn. He's a Bay Area kid, went to Bellarmine High School, graduated from Cal. We all know he's a great foodie, but he also can swing it. Mark Tanna is back. He came up and was absolutely electrifying at third base, 14 home runs, and he can pick it and throw it as good as anybody. Matt Chapman, your third baseman. Bob Melvin needs to get a lefty out. You go to Daniel Coulomb because he's as good as anybody getting lefties out. And he gets righties too. You want to talk about a guy, if there's men on base, you want him coming in from the bullpen with his nasty slider, Ryan Dahl. Well, this guy came over in a trade, and he's going to be the future in center field. I know a lot of people are excited about him. Dustin Fowler. Our next pitcher showed all kinds of guts and all kinds of pitches. Going to be a part of this rotation. Daniel Gossett. Well, this guy's going to be the cornerstone of the rotation. We've all loved watching him grow as a pitcher, and boy, we're expecting a big year out of him. Kendall Graveman. This righty comes out of the bullpen just blowing smoke, Chris Hatcher. And you want someone who's reliable, someone who's always going to take the ball, and if Bob Melvin can always count on, Liam Hendricks. He's a Stanford graduate. You want to talk about a doubles machine? As a second baseman, had 49 doubles last year. Welcome back, Jed Lowry. You want a big left-hander with big-time stuff who's going to be in this rotation for many, many years? Sean Manaea. The next guy made you think, wow, this is what it was like to watch Babe Ruth play. He had 24 home runs and 189 at-bats. Your first baseman, Matt Olson. And this next pitcher is going to be huge for the A's this year coming out of the bullpen. Emilio Pagan. You can look at his number. Going to be huge. And please welcome back to the Bay Area, also going to be big out of the bullpen and can also start, Yasmero Petit. You want versatility, you want power, you want to be able to put this athletic guy anywhere on the diamond. Chad Pender can do it. Boy, he's got big time power. In one of the great trades that we've seen in a long time, and one of the good stories, and it's great to have him back home, and he's going to be a big time fan favorite. Stephen Piscotty is here. And we loved watching Booth play center, didn't we? Watching Booth Powell play. Welcome back, Booth. And another Bay Area kid and a Cal grad. He's your shortstop with all the
Go
power.
Bears!
Marcus Semien.
Go Bears!
Is Triggs back there? Did I miss him? Triggs is back. Triggsy, I didn't have you on here. Expecting a big year out of him also in the rotation. And now it's time for the legends. This guy's one of the great third basemen. He's a World Series champion, American League batting title. Barney Lansford is back. This man did it all in his career, winning a World Series title, All-Star games, catching no-hitters, the great Terry Steinbach. All this guy did was win World Series. Blue Moon Odom is back. One of the greats. Three-time World Series champion. Yeah, I guess I missed a page here. It's not the first time.
Oops.
Well, I can't believe I missed this guy. This guy, it was actually one of the best days of my career. It was unbelievable. And for all of you, and he's going to be a big part of A's broadcasting now, the great Dallas Brady. Mr. Perfect Game. I simply call him the face of the franchise. Two-time World Series champion, two-time All-Star, two-time Gold Glove winner, and he's the best at television and one of the greatest guys, Ray Fosse, A's legend. Vida Blue's not here yet, but let's honor him anyway because he's a champion, Cy Young Award winner. Even though he's not here yet, give it up for Vida Blue. And our last guy, Ricky. I mean, what else can you say? All you need to do is go to Baseball Reference and he owns all the records.
Ricky.
If you're going to have a discussion about who the greatest player is to have ever played this game,
Ricky.
This man has to be in the discussion. The greatest day of all time, Ricky Henderson. Ladies and gentlemen, your past and present Oakland Athletics. Let's go, Oakland!
Let's go, Oakland! Let's go, Oakland!
All right, our next guy is the reason we're all here. I remember we used to do FanFest. We'd do it at Oracle, and it was just not right, and it didn't feel right. This feels right. Everything the A's have been doing feels right. And there's one reason why. Because there's a new sheriff in town, and the guy that's making all this happen is going to continue to grow this franchise. It's Dave Kaval. Give it up for A's president. How we doing, Oakland? How we doing? What a FanFest 2018. 50 years of this amazing city. Now, how many people out there were at the game 50 years ago? Right there, I see some hands. I see some hands. And you guys know that this year we're going to celebrate those 50 years the entire season. And it starts out with an opening day. For the first time, it's going to be a day game. Play hooky, skip school, get out of work. Make sure you're there. It's going to be an amazing day baseball to kick off our amazing 50th season in Oakland. And then we're following that up by honoring the next night the top 50 baseball players in the history of the club. And it's going to be a great celebration of all our amazing historic achievements and players and even characters. I mean, these guys are some of the best players in baseball, Hall of Famers, and they're just people you can relate to and really take pride in. So we're really happy about that for the first night game. And then we're following that up on the 17th of April, the free game. Who's ready for that? Who has their tickets? Okay, everybody loves free tickets. You can't beat that. So we're having the free game. It's going to be an incredible day. I think it could be the largest attended game for baseball at the history of the Coliseum. I want to encourage everyone to come out with their family. It's going to be a historic moment. We're going to have a massive birthday cake. Hopefully we'll have enough cake for everyone with the 50 candles. So I think it'll be an amazing day. And it's just an incredible way to honor our history and everything we're doing here. So as everybody knows, I'm going to address the elephant in the room, and I'm not talking about Stomper. We had a setback in December with our efforts at our preferred site at the Peralta Community College District. But I want everyone to know that we're 100% focused and dedicated to opening a new privately financed stadium in Oakland by 2023. And that'll only happen with the support of these amazing fans. And we are working tirelessly every day to make sure that we come up with a plan that works for the community and also works for the A's. And one of those beautiful sites is right behind me here at Howard Terminal. We have a beautiful location at the Coliseum, and we have not given up at Peralta. So we have 3 viable sites in Oakland. We're rooted in this community, and we have a plan that will lead to our success this year and beyond. So thank you guys for your support. That's a huge thing. And then finally, I just want to say I am so grateful to have the greatest fan base in all pro sports in front of me. You know, it is unbelievable. Our fans, they're the most knowledgeable, passionate, they love our players, and together we can achieve amazing things together, bring more world championships to Oakland, celebrate, and have even a bigger parade than the one we had today. So I want to thank everyone for coming, and let's go Oakland. Let's get it going. Let's go Oakland. Thank you.
Let's get this party started. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to FanFest. Autograph sessions, player photo areas, and many other activities will begin just in a few minutes. The first question and answer session will begin here right away. Please remember to purchase your individual tickets for the 2018 season. Be sure to use MLB Ballpark app on your smartphone to purchase tickets, and you will pay no fees during FanFest. Welcome to FanFest, everybody. Let's have a great time.
Well, that was something else. As you heard, Dave Kaval repeated his commitment to building a privately financed stadium for the Athletics right here in Oakland. And he said, of course, as you probably know, 3 sites. Howard Terminal, which is just over here. Peralta, which is back that way a mile, so actually 2 miles. And then, of course, the Coliseum, which is about 5 miles away. There you go. Hey, where do you want to see the stadium at? If I can ask you for my last stream.
Oh, Howard Terminal would be great.
Yeah, Howard Terminal, definitely. Yeah. Definitely. What do you think about how things have been handled at Peralta?
It was unfortunate miss. I think, you know, I don't think the Peralta folks seeing the big picture, but we'll see.
Hey, who's your favorite A's player?
I love Chad Pinder. He's like super versatile and he can hit a mile when he gets.
Cool glasses, man. Hey, thanks a lot.
Sure thing.
So there you go, folks. We're going to roam around a little bit and tweet out some things. Oh, sorry. I gotta be honest, other than the fact that the players in that building, I have no idea why people are standing here. It's just like a looky-loo thing, but I'm giving you the best view I can. Actually, I'm giving you a pretty good view. So there you go.
Who's that with Steinbach talking to Billy Beane right here? Oh, Fossey.
the A's new offices are at the opposite end of Jack London, that direction. I'll walk down there so you can get a look at them. But they are, I'm at one end of Jack London. I'm trying to map or something, but I don't. But I'm at one end of Jack London. They're at the opposite end of Jack London Square. So there you go. They're setting up now for question and answer, which will occur over there. Okay, so that's what's happening.
One more thing. Everybody, don't go. Don't go. We've got a special Q&A. Glenn Kuiper's going to come up here with Bob Melvin and Billy Beane. They're going to be taking your questions. It's coming up in moments, okay? So everybody come back. You're going to hear from Melvin, you're going to hear from Beane. You can ask all the questions you want with Glenn Kuiper. Thanks, everybody.
I think it's mostly transportation, but it is complicated. Sure. So we have to do everything we can. Yeah, and there's train tracks. I mean, you guys know.
Yeah. Okay.
So it has to be very thoughtful in the way we approach it. That's why we have to still keep the Coliseum as an option.
Thanks for being committed to Oakland,
yes.
by the way. Nice.
That's awesome. Right on. Thank you, Dave.
Big.
Do you have any
You know, the hard thing is, if we tried to move in, it would create obstructive views because it's all like the only way to do that is to go down. And we're already 22 feet below sea level. So it's really, you can't do it, unfortunately. And you're right, that's a big issue because not only are you far away, but especially if you're a hitter, you don't like all that foul territory. But I will say some of the pitchers, like Graveman, they love it. I thought it was because of multi-use, right?
When they built the stadium,
yeah. Wow.
That was about a week.
And they had to push it. I think that's a great thing. You know what? I learned some. Thank you. That's great.
Glad you're committed to Oakland, man. Thanks a lot.
Great stuff. Love rooting in Oakland, man. You can't beat it. Fantastic.
My annual hug.
It's great to see you. Awesome. Awesome. What do you guys want me to sign here?
And you know, I gotta get here.
It's still in the mix. It's still in the mix. I mean, it's the easiest side to
Hey, I'll tell you, asking me what I thought. I always thought it should be Howard Terminal, just because the study was done way back in 2001, which was really supposed to be Uptown, but Uptown is now apartments and condominiums. And we've sort of been locked into Howard Terminal right now. So, but I thought the mayor should have packaged some incentives and just went from there. So, you know.
We might have like 70,000 people.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you have your ticket and it's in there. No, I think we're doing Yeah, I did that. I really wanted to do that. I did that for my dad and my uncle. They couldn't get around. I'm really happy to hear that. They're everywhere now. We did them everywhere. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. You know, so
regardless, the main thing that needs to happen is it needs to have a package of incentives that's, you know, put out there, and that still hasn't happened to date. That's the main problem. So, you don't have to be a genius to see that. If it happened, there would have been a press conference and everything else. Okay.
probably move on through. Huh? Kaval. Exactly.
Hey, how are you guys? Good to see you.
It's a lot of decoration.
So as far as what's happening next, there's a Q&A right here. Over there. Okay. There's
Kaval over here talking, right?
And then down here, over there, you got the fan guys going. So you got everything going on. That's what's happening. So.
And Mr. Odom too. There's Mr. Odom there. Yeah.
You guys throw your body in front of them, right?
Take one for the team.
This goes on until 2 o'clock, so it's just 12:31 right now. I'm waiting for the Q&A, which I thought would be interesting. So that starts in, I thought it was supposed to start now, but I don't know. Hold on a second. It's just the band, folks. Hold on a second. I'm also trying to stand in the shade because it's warm. It's warmer than I thought it was going to be. It started off a little cool, and now it feels like about 65. Might see 70 by the time we get to what, 12 noon, I guess. Yeah.
Hello everybody. Welcome to 2018 FanFest. I'm Glenn Kuiper from NBC Sports California. The sun has come out. It's an awesome day, and welcome to the first question and answer session. You guys are lucky because we go right for the big fellas first, and I'm going to introduce our two guests. What we'll do is, gentlemen will come up. I'll ask a few questions, but we want your questions. That's more important than maybe what I'll ask. And Dick and Cara are out there. They have microphones, so if you want to ask them a question, raise your hand, go over and see them, and you can ask our two guests certainly anything you want. So let's get started with this first question and answer session. Our two guests, as we said, we like to start at the top. First and foremost, the Executive Vice President of the Oakland A's, Mr. Billy Beane. Billy. Executive Vice President of Baseball Operations. I have to get the title. So Billy's here, and so is the manager of the Oakland A's, Bob Melvin. Bob? So again, I'm going to ask the gentleman a couple questions, but we certainly want to hear from you guys. But we'll start with Billy. Billy, as we get close to spring training, there's obviously excitement. What excites you the most about this roster that you have put together, even though there's still time and you may have additions that are still to come, but what do you like most about this group?
Well, I think to see the continued improvement of the young guys. We saw it from the middle of the year. And I think the record reflected it when we started making some changes with some of the younger guys. I'm excited to see them continue to progress. And we've got another group of kids right behind them that we're looking forward to seeing as well. So I think we ended on a high note. And again, looking to just continue that trend line up.
So, Bob, Billy talks about these young guys getting better. How important was what happened at the end of last year, where you guys had a good month of September with young guys who played well in that month? How important was that?
Right, and really even before that, it's important that guys, have some success even before September. With the rosters expanded, 40 man, waters it down a little bit, but to see these guys come up and finish the season the way they did, knowing going into next year that they've had success, for the confidence as a team and the individual going into this year. Like Billy said, we're looking to trend line up, and I don't know that our system has ever been stocked like it is right now. Not only do we have this group that you saw last year, we got a lot more coming. So this is the start of something good, and like Billy said, we expect it to trend up again.
Big baseball theme question this whole off season, Billy, is kind of what's going on with the free agent market. You're right there every day. It has been a strange season, or strange off season, with guys not signing yet. What are some of your theories on that?
Well, I can't speak for everybody else, but sort of for us, we knew, number one, we had a number of positions that were filled at the end of the year with these young guys. Chapman, Olsen coming up, and seeing some of those guys. So we weren't as active, mainly because of the success of the young guys. And again, like we've just talked about, the group coming up. It's really hard. It's hard to say and hard to predict as to where the market's going to go, even from here. But there are a lot of guys out there, and it's been a very slow winter in terms of free agent signings. I mean, it's never a market that we're really that active in. Anyways, we signed Petit early in the off season, but beyond that, we've just waiting for our own guys to just get here.
And Bob, you watch it closely. Are you surprised at what has happened, or in this case, maybe what hasn't happened yet?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, some of the bigger guys are still out there, and usually those are the first guys that go, and it kind of opens up the market for everybody else. So, I just hope they don't wind up in our division. We typically get quite a few of those guys in our division, so I would like to see these guys that are still out there maybe stay away.
All right, you guys ready for some questions? Dick Callahan, ladies and gentlemen.
This question is directed at either Billy or Bob, I would think. Are there any comments on possible signing of Ichiro? Might as well start off with a good one, huh?
What about Ichiro? He's out there.
Well, listen, historically, and this always works well in these situations, I never commented on free agent sticks, so I don't think that I can start now after 21 years. But again, to give some responses is, if you start to look, again, we really want to preserve some of the spots for the young players. We have Matt Joyce returning, who did a great job for us in right field. We just acquired Stephen Piscotty. And with Boog Powell and hopefully see Dustin Fowler, Chad Pender's played some outfield, we have to be sort of aware of the space on the roster and making sure that we preserve the opportunities for these young guys. So that's probably the best roundabout way I could answer that specific one. But as you know, I don't comment on free agents, Dick.
I think I gathered that, Billy.
Dick, you got to be controversial on the first crowd question.
Leading with the high hard one, right?
Was this your question, Dick?
No. I'd like to come back next year.
Kara is out there, and before Kara has a question, we want to welcome her. She's going to be on some of our NBC Sports California telecasts. So we're very excited about that. So I know you guys love to see Kara in the stadium, and she's bouncing around, and she's super busy, but we're going to take her on the TV side for some games this year and we're happy to have her. So congratulations, Carl.
Thank you. But I'm not leaving my in-stadium hosting duties. I'll still be running around interviewing your kids and grandparents and whatnot. So it'll be a great hybrid role. But thank you so much, Glenn. This is Cameron. He's from Stockton. He was here last year. Asked the question of Bob last year, right? But this is a question for Billy.
All right. Hey, Billy. I actually asked David this question last year, but I wanted to know what path should a young baseball-loving person like me take to get a front office job?
What did David tell you last year?
Last year, David said just get into the game and just build your way up.
He has no idea what he's talking about. Actually, you know what? David is a good guy to speak of. He's been in the game now. He seems like an old veteran, but I remember the day me and Paul DePodesta hired him. And he was putting his pictures up of his beautiful girlfriend at the time, and who is now his wife, and now he has 2 children. So I do remember his path and think his advice, as simple as it sounds. I mean, a lot of the people here working for the A's, a lot of them would like to work in baseball operations, but they try and find other ways into to work for a major league team, whether it's selling tickets and doing lots of things, I think. But the advice is simple that David gave you, but I would agree with it. It's the hours can be bad, but it is, I think we all love being a part of a major league team. I know I speak for Bob as well, but everybody here, it's worth it. You know, you got Stockton Ports out there, starting there, that's a good start. But again, I think just with anything, a passion and the willingness to show that you love what you're doing is probably the first step.
Now, Billy works closely with his people, obviously. Bob, you work closely with your coaches. You have some new coaches this year. I know you're good friends with Matt Williams. We're excited to have Matt, but how long does it take to kind of have all you guys kind of get into a rhythm? Because you guys obviously work very closely together all season long.
Yeah, and you're with each other for the better part of 8 months, you know, starting with spring training. And, you know, our philosophy as an organization has always been hire from within, and we do have a lot of guys that have been in development on our coaching staff right now. But when you got an opportunity to get a Matt Williams and an Al Padrique, you go outside every now and then. And certainly with Al was with the guys that we got in the Yankee trade, you know, the Fowlers and Caprillions and Mateos. So he's a great resource there. He's did a great job with the Yankees, been a big league manager, and Matt Williams, you know, his resume speaks for itself. Great player, great manager, great coach, just a great baseball presence. So we felt like we really upgraded our staff with those 2 guys.
Yeah, and you mentioned a couple names, and I think the fans are probably curious about it. I know there was some stuff in the paper today about Fowler, the young center fielder. Is he healthy? Caprillion, who's a good-looking young right-handed pitcher, but he had coming back from injury. Tell us where those guys are at, and how close are we to seeing these guys?
Well, in Destin's case, we get updates pretty regularly, and he's on right now on pace to open up spring training with us. He should be ready for games, I think, about February 26th, which is 3 days into the spring training Cactus League season. So he's right on target. As far as Caprillion, he'll be a little slower, mainly because the timetable for his the Tommy John surgery Tommy John injury based on the surgery will probably be ready about May. He'll be throwing. So, but they're all on pace to be out there as we expected when we traded for him, and we're really excited about seeing him. We're excited about the deal we made.
Yeah, and the Mateo kid is a terrific prospect, right? I mean, I know you guys are excited about him. Jorge Mateo, how close is he, and where will he start this year?
Well,
this is the Sonny Gray trade from the Yankees.
And well, he should. You know, he had a great month in Midland. And so I would, again, we haven't decided, but there's a very good chance you would certainly see him at the AAA level at some point. And once you're there, you can get up to Oakland at any point. Anytime you reach AA and you start performing, you're really just a phone call away from the big leagues. And we've got quite a few guys beyond Mateo as well who are in that same boat.
So, Bob, I got to believe, I mean, you know pretty much who your players are, but how much do you look forward to seeing these young kids that you've heard a lot about? And even if they're not on your team coming out of spring training, you know that they're close. So do you take kind of a special look at these kids who you haven't seen a lot of?
We do, and we have the ability to watch a lot of video on before they get here. But the one thing that's really exciting about our group now is we're way more athletic than we've ever been. And you know, with guys like Mateo, I mean, they're talking about this guy might be one of the top 5 fastest guys once he gets to the big leagues, the minute he hits the ground there. And you still have guys like Franklin Barreto. You look at the big league roster now, we're much more athletic. So we have ways to do things a little bit differently now. And that's exciting because you put pressure on another team with your athleticism and it gets everybody's attention.
Billy, you see that phrase a lot, more athletic. Is that sort of kind of the theme now where teams are going when building a roster? Because you watch the Astros and the first thing you think of, athletic. And obviously they won the World Series, but it seems like the last 2 or 3 years you're hearing baseball people talk about getting more athletic more often.
Well, I think you're getting better athletes into the game, number one, and so you're seeing what kind of impact they can have. You know, we take the Astros of George Springer, who does everything really well and was able to beat you on both sides of the baseball. You know, you can have a one-dimensional team, but you look at the Astros, which is a great example. I mean, you look at all the players on that team, and they can beat you on the bases, they can beat you with their glove, they can beat you with a base hit, or they can beat you with a home run. So the athleticism just gives you a much more dynamic way of playing offense, and you know, every manager would love to have that. And it's also a benefit up the middle defensively too.
Carl?
You're from Oakland, and Leroy, your question.
In your opening series with the Angels this year, do you know yet whether Ohtani will be pitching?
I expect him to be. I mean, they got him for a reason. Now, there's some talk of maybe some elbow things, and I don't know if he's a little farther along offensively than pitching yet. But they got him for a reason. We play him in a 4-game series. My guess is if he's healthy, we might even see him on day 1.
Maybe the better question would be, would you see him in the lineup? Who knows? What do you guys think about the two-way player? Which again, you're starting to hear more about that. Certainly, he's a big reason for that. But Billy, what do you think? You think it's got a chance to work?
I mean, I think we would all love to have that guy who can be your number 1 starter on one day
and then go hit
and hit fourth. I mean, it sounds a lot like some guy named Babe Ruth, but it turned out all right. So, listen, I think you're going to see more of that. As I said, I think it's more of a reflection of the athletes coming into the game and teams really trying to maximize. So it wouldn't surprise me if you see more guys down the road, you know, who try playing, you know, or pitching and playing. I don't know how Bob feels about that, but I just think it's, again, a reflection of the type of athlete we're getting into the game.
It doesn't seem like there would be a negative to it at all from a manager standpoint.
No, and you know, it's who's the first guy, the groundbreaker that comes in and is successful doing it. You know, Matt Chapman was a heck of a pitcher in his day too, and there are many times that I go to the mound, he looks at me and he goes, "I can finish this game right now." I said, "Don't worry, just do your job right now." And he's serious, and you know, he's got an 80 arm and through 98 miles an hour in college, and really wants to do it now. So it wouldn't surprise me if you see more of this in the years to come.
Dick Callahan, you got anything? Come on, Dick, pressure's on.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see you over here. Sorry. Okay. Your question, sir?
This is for Bob and I guess Billy. What's the starting rotation? The starting center fielder.
You want me to just give you the opening day lineup right now? You know what? I really don't know at this point, but we certainly love Kendall Graveman and Sean Manai as probably our 1-2 guys. With the most experience, the guys that take the pressure off the rest of the guys. We'd love Dustin Fowler to be our opening day center fielder, but we certainly have some guys that we feel like, you know, Boog Powell did a great job for us last year. Candace played out there, Pinder's played out there. One thing we have is some depth and some guys that are versatile and can play different positions, but we made the trade for Fowler for a reason, and you know, hopefully health would suggest that by the end of spring he's ready to go, but we'll still yet to be seen.
Billy, I want to ask you about the big left-hander that you drafted a couple years ago, AJ Puck. I know he's had a lot of success, I guess kind of on the fast track. How close is he, and could he be a factor on this roster this year?
It wouldn't surprise me, given his performance at AA last year. I mean, he wasn't good, he was great. And so when you pitch that well at that level, again, you're just a phone call away. So I think myself and Bob, like with most young guys, I think we would prefer that when they get here, they stay here. I think we've always had, over the 20 years I've been here, the one thing I think we've been by and large pretty good with is deciding when to bring a guy up, and they usually don't go back. If you go back to the, you know, Jambi days and all the way back then. And so I think that would be the same with AJ. You want to make sure the guy's ready. He's got a lot of situations under his belt. It's not just about throwing innings. It's also about holding runners and fielding your position. All things that drive a manager crazy when they get to the big leagues and they're not able to do them, because then he gets blamed for them at the major league level whenever we see him. We want to make sure that they're a well-rounded player, and from a pitcher standpoint, it's more than just innings. So to answer your question, he's close, but he needs more time.
Yeah. So, but I mean, it'd be fun to watch in spring training, right, Bob? I mean, you can get him out there and see what he does against big leaguers.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big arm. I mean, he came in last year and made an impression on us and did great. We expected, looking at some of the numbers the year before, maybe be a little bit wild, and he was anything but for us. So, we limited his innings, with us in spring training, but gave us a taste of what we're going to see, and we'll up those this spring, and he's as talented a guy as we have in our system.
AJ Puck, we'll see him soon. Car?
Thanks, Glenn. This is Robbie from Davis.
Hi, how are you today?
Question for Billy.
So I've been a lifelong season ticket holder, and every year we get attached to people and then they leave. I was wondering what your retention was, because last year you guys had Marcus Simeon, Sean Doolittle, Adam Rosales, Sonny Gray, Stephen Vogt, and you said you were committed to keeping people, and we have Marcus Simeon.
Who's a keeper? He's a good one, but just Marcus.
I wasn't here last year, so you can't blame me. You can blame David for that. Listen, I mean, it's obviously the theme that we're trying to end here. And listen, I can assure you, my own wife, remember the morning that so you're probably too young to remember this, but there was a day years ago that I traded these two guys named Hudson and Mulder.
Yep.
Yeah. There's been a lot more since then, guys. So, but I remember my own wife looking at me and just trade those two guys. And so, what I can tell you is it's not something myself or Bobby. It's something we like. Okay. I mean, I think the situation, unfortunately, we've had many players in and out because of from a revenue standpoint. We're trying to solve that. That's why Dave gets up here beforehand and hopefully at some point it's not the case anymore, but because again it's less fun for me than it is for you, trust me, when your own wife wakes up and says the same thing to you, and my kids too. When Josh Reddick was my younger kid's favorite player, so they'll watch the Dodgers. When he was over the Dodgers, they watch the Dodgers, not the A's, because of their own dads. So I feel your pain. We're trying to end that. So,
but I think too, I mean, like a Sonny Gray trade, popular player, but I mean, that trade has a really good chance to turn out to be a terrific trade. You have a shot to have an everyday center fielder, a dynamic shortstop, and a frontline starter. I mean, so there is a patience involved, which I know fans don't always like that, but a trade like that, I mean, there's a really good chance it's going to, when it's all said and done, it's going to have a huge impact on the future of the A's. Nothing against Sonny Gray, of course. He was terrific.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it was something we needed to do. I mean, nobody wants, from my standpoint, this is what my career, and from Bobby too, having Sonny pitch every fifth day is much more relaxing for us. And as you said, we have to wait for these kids to get here. But going back to that trade, I think we're very, very pleased. How many times do you get a guy who's a top of the rotation guy, potentially a center fielder and a shortstop? You just don't find those positions in any trade, let alone one trade. So we felt good about it. And I know I'm good friends with Brian Cashman. And since he's made that trade, he spent the whole time trying to get those players back. So that's Brian telling me, that we got the right guys.
Dick, question?
One more on the process of changing of the roster. How long are players under consideration over the period of the year, the off season, before you really make a decision to trade that player? I'm sure it's not something you decide on Tuesday and make the trade on Wednesday, but I was asked about how long it takes you to go through your process to make that trade.
How long it takes us to break everyone's hearts, you mean? How long does it? Yeah, listen, the tough thing about, again, still waiting for the new stadium is every year by year, we're sort of in, I hate to use this term because I overuse it, a little hand to mouth. It depends on what we project the revenues. It's really all about the business on a year by year basis. So, listen, some players you have an idea early on, that you might not be able to hold on them. Some, it may come about because you have a conversation and maybe it makes sense at that point, but it varies. But I can, again, reiterate, it's not a fun process when you know you're going to have to trade a very, very good player, and in many cases, a very popular player. It's not any fun for us either.
Carl?
I've got Bruce Mason from El Cerrito. Another question for Billy.
Yeah, this question is for Billy. I know at this time of the year, our goal is to win the World Series. But what I'd like to do is fast forward. Let's say it's November, and we didn't win the World Series. What are some of the things that you would like to see that would signify that this season has been a success for the Oakland A's? Could it be like 75 wins, Golden Gloves? What are some of the metrics that you'll use that you'll say that, yes, we didn't win the World Series, but we're making progress, and here is why?
No, actually, I think that's a great question, because you can have a really successful season. I think me and Bob felt last year was the case. We were much healthier a year. When we ended the season in September last year, it was a much different feeling about where we were headed, despite not, a dramatic difference in how many wins we had. And the same could be said next year, because they say if we, right now we sit here, we know Matt Chapman's our third baseman going, and we know Olson's going to be the first baseman. Boog Powell's going to be a part of this team. And the group of kids, if we can sit here in a year from now and we've doubled that total of young players, if you start talking about, a Puck, a Caprillion being in your rotation, I think putting in the pillars of long-term success, one at a time, and maybe having multiple guys at the end of the year, I think that's probably our goal right now. That being said, we want to win every game we can. I can tell you, Bob, and I speak for Bob because we're exactly the same way, we hate losing. It drives us crazy. And if we win the last game of the season, even if it affects our draft choice, we're high-fiving each other. We want to win. And but again, I think if we get more long-term pieces in place, I think that's sort of our goals this year, and we'll see where it goes record-wise.
Bob, do you set goals for the team? I mean, I'm not going to ask you what they are, but do you have a win total that creeps into your head? Say, hey, you know what? I'd love to get to that number.
I think where we are, it's more shorter-term goals, and then once the process gets going and you start to create some momentum, then you start to up where your goals are. But we don't at this point, we don't need long-term goals. We're not thinking like Houston where we need to be in September. We're thinking what we want to accomplish in April and then what we want to accomplish in May. And you saw that at the end of the year, and Billy made a great point. Last year, we ended with a good feeling. I had a meeting the last day of the season, reminded everybody, remember what this feels like and remember where we're going, because we really accomplished some things, and you want to, going into the off workouts, I want them thinking about, success, and we built on that. So it's continually building on that, and I think as the season goes along, we'll probably scoot our goals around a little bit.
Do you feel like that? And I know you always like to get off to a good start. Every team wants to, but maybe sometimes for some teams it's more important to get off to a good start. Do you feel that way with this team because they're young and they have a chance to build off what happened in September? Maybe a good April and May, and show our fans that, this team has a chance to be pretty good.
Right. I would agree with that. It's not imperative. I mean, I don't think we need to, lead the division in April for us to feel good. But coming out of, like I said, last year, the guys will feel confident going into spring, going into the month of April, and feel like we have a chance to have a good start to the season.
Cara?
Yeah, this is Shiva from San Rafael, wants to dig into a manager's toolbox here. Your question.
I first want to talk about becoming a fan in the late 80s when I would go to a Wednesday day game with 36,000 people there and electricity. I'd love to see that happen again this year. But I want to figure out a little bit better, what is a five-tool player? And is there anybody right now on the A's or in baseball that you would say fits that description? Thank you.
Well, five-tool player is a guy that hits for average, hits for power, can run, plays defense, and can throw. And, Matt Chapman is that type of guy. He's a five-tool player. He does it all. And we feel like Dustin Fowler has a chance to be one of those guys. It's very rare that you see five-tool guys. I mean, if you can have 3 tools in your belt that are plus, that's good. But again, the athleticism is so much better this year, and it puts pressure on the other team. And, we're going to have a different look to our team, not only this year, but in the coming years. So that's the definition of a five-tool player, but there aren't many of them.
We saw some new coaches join the team this year. This is Jeremy with a question about the coaches.
Hi there. So Ryan Christensen was someone that came up from the A's minor league system. Was he someone that you two identified early on as like an up-and-coming coach that you felt might have the ability to coach in the major leagues?
Yeah, I mean, Ryan's been a guy that we've targeted, and Ryan's been with this group that you see coming to the big leagues at this point. He was with them in single A and double A and triple A, has some success with them. You know, we always try to promote from within our organization, so our coaches in development know they have a chance to get to the big leagues, and we've been very good about that. You know, this year, as I talked about with Al Padrique and Matt Williams, those were just no-brainers for us. But the rest of our staff is basically in-house athletics, you know, A's that have been in development, and to come up with our group, they know them. Not only they know them, you know, physically, they know them personally too, and you're trying to develop those relationships with the players, and we feel like we have a really good group of coaches.
Dick, Andrea.
Hi, I'm Andrea from Oakland, and watching the playoffs is always really fun, but really bittersweet because there are so many ex-A's in there. It's just, you know, it kind of is gratifying that we picked all these great players, but then we become like we're the farm team for the rest of MLB, and we really want to lose that. I know that ties in a little bit with the other question, but how do we lose that reputation of being the best farm team out there?
We build a new stadium with
Well,
more
I
revenue.
think, yeah,
That's
the
how.
thing we're proud of, in fact, that we've done a pretty good job of identifying it, you know? So I remember one of the things that was back in 01, which I think really was an amazingly talented team we had back in 01. And I think they showed the next year all those guys to free agency, John B. Damon, I think Isringhausen. And I think, and this was now 14, 15 years ago, I may be incorrect, that had you kept that team together, it would have cost you like $300 million at that time. So again, you know, finding the talent, I think our staff has done a pretty good job on that. Retaining it is the challenge, and it's not by choice. It's we're trying to change that narrative, and you know, that's why Dave's up here and doing everything he can. So hopefully that's the case. I'm running out of time myself, so I'm with you. So this is my 21st year. There's only so many times I can let you guys yell at me every year for doing this. I got kids in school. It's traumatic for them.
You know, speaking of the postseason, probably watched it, and there's so much talk now about, you know, how are the bullpens used, how it was last year and this year. And what do you think about all that? And I know you probably manage a little bit different in the regular season, but a couple of years of postseason has changed the way everybody looks at the bullpens. Are you behind that completely?
One, I have a tough time watching the postseason. Reluctantly, I'll watch. I mean, it's difficult in the postseason when that's something you're aspiring to do. But you know, it's a lot easier to do what you've seen in the last couple of years in the postseason than it is during the season, because you're using starters. You always have days off. Guys are always fresh. You can use guys basically every day, every game, because you play 2 games and you have an off day, and you're only using several of your starters. So you're just trying to find the best pitchers you on a particular day, and you can do that in the postseason. It's a little more challenging during the regular season.
Do you, when you are watching a game, do you manage along a little bit? Is it hard not to?
Yeah. You do some, but you also understand that there's, you know, they're going to have a plan every game, and I don't know who they're planning on using. You know, when you bring in a couple of starters behind a starter and you leave your bullpen guys down there and you don't use them, it's a little bit of a surprise. But certainly there's a plan every game, so it's a little more difficult to think along with that during the postseason.
Second guess to the managers in the postseason.
That never happens. Second guess the manager.
No.
It's not part of baseball.
Crazy thought. All right.
Back to Billy getting yelled at by family and fans. Question from Marissa in Stockton.
Hi. I was wondering, do you listen to call-ins on the radio when there's talk about trade from fans?
It's so scary. Bobby, no, I actually don't, sorry. There's so many great podcasts out there. I'm a big Oasis fan. There's so much to listen to that poor Townie doesn't get my audience. But I'm actually good friends with Townie, too. I have been. Should I not be? Because you've been saying things? But no, I actually don't. And mainly just there's so many other interesting things, in my opinion, to listen to. It's not nothing against it. I can't get through my podcast. Well, you want to fill me in? Is there something I'm missing? Okay. Thanks. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you.
I'll answer that as well. I tend to be the topic in a lot of those type of things, so I tend to stay away from that myself.
You know, it's funny though, and Bob talked about, you know, managing, and these managers make so many decisions through the course of every game. And listen, I mean, there's times when we sit in the broadcast booth and why would he do that? But the thing is he has a reason.
I'm going to confess to something?
Yeah. It's going to get really deep here in a minute. But I always like to ask Bob the next day, why did you do that? And then the answer makes perfect sense. Now, it may not have worked, but there's always a reason or two or three reasons why you do something. And I guess, you know, I don't want people to think you're just up there winging it. I mean, you know, there really is legitimate reasons why, and I'm always curious if I'm wondering about a move, and then it makes sense. I mean, so there's a lot of thought that goes into whether pinch hitter, you know, whatever reliever.
And the timing of it is when you're thinking about it, I had to have thought more, you know, and the one thing I often get is, you know, take him out, take the starter out. He doesn't have it today. It's the second inning, he doesn't have it today. Well, if I start bringing my best guys in games that we're down 6 or 7 runs and using those guys, they're not going to be available in the games that we have a chance to win. So as hard as it is, it's not like I don't think the same thing you're thinking, but you know, there's not just one game to play in the course of a season. There's 162.
Thanks for getting me through. I got a little emotional. Billy got me to help me through that a little bit.
Guys, Eli has a question that actually at both Billy and Bob. Eli?
The plan to increase the revenue to maybe get a way to keep these players. Maybe we can do together as a community to increase the revenue. I know we can't get the $300 million. You know, that's high reaching. But can we get to $100 million? What's planned and how?
Well, listen, Bobby feel this way. Given whatever we have to work with, the best baseball team we can put within the confines of that budget, that's what we try to do as far as the overall nation. That's something the business is a part of. I can tell you, so we're really working hard to answer that question and do everything they possibly. I don't think we have anything other than sort of baseball guys, but we do know that if you put a good team on the field, regardless of your stadium, people are going to come. The case here, and we'll do the best we can with what we have. Carl?
I've got Leonard, a UC Berkeley student, with a question for a Berkeley grad.
Hi, Bob. I know it's too early to say, but do you see opening the year on the opening day roster? I understand he's out of option. He reminds me of Cruz. Do you have any plans for him going forward?
Yeah, it's a pretty good comp without the track record, but...
Nah!
No, he's a very, very talented guy, and that's how deep our system is, that potentially we don't have a spot for him. So do we have a decision to make on him this year? You look at the numbers he's put up, and it shows you the depth. Get a lot of times this spring. We need to make a decision on him. He'll get a lot of, and you know, hopefully does well, and this is going to just keep him. So nothing's been decided. Talented guy, especially talented hitter.
How from what may do in spring training? I mean,
me or him?
Both.
No, well, it's tough. It's spring, and you know, you get all excited about it, but it's spring training, and it just does not transfer most of the times. You know, track record of you signed to be on your big league team, and you know, like Billy said earlier, you bring a guy up, and he's not ready. Psychologically, that can be tough on him when he goes back down. So our goal is to try to bring guys up when they're going to stick, and you know, that's kind of our focus on that.
Tara?
Yeah, I've got another player-related question for Beane from Oakland.
I want to talk about Crush Davis. He's obviously a fan favorite, and I hear he really likes it in Oakland. And I want to know, is he in your plans after next year?
Chris Davis.
Oh, well, I love homers. If you guys follow me long enough, the guys hit homers. They're one of my favorites. Listen, I hope so. That's for sure, because it's nice, and I know Bobby feels the same way. One thing about Chris is that, you know, beyond the home runs, he's pretty much available every day. You know, in this day and age when you lose a lot of players for injuries, for a manager to know that he can pencil in the guy in the middle of the line just about every day, and Chris does that. So, so listen, I'm with you. I'm a big fan of Homerson, and therefore I'm a big fan of Chris. He's a great guy, quietly goes about his business, and I said, Bobby's in, he knows he can count on him. So let's hope we're having the same conversation next year, because I'm with you.
You know, there's a lot of baseball people who feel that staying healthy is a tool. Right? I mean, talk about the 5 tools, but maybe it should be 6. A guy who answers the bell every day, because not everybody does that. But if you have a guy who you don't have, grinds through maybe some small injuries, you guys are invaluable.
Yeah, and a lot of it is due to the work and preparation they do leading in spring training that allows them to stay available for the course. And you know, certain guys want days off. Chris Davis is not one of those guys, and we love having his bat in the lineup, whether it's DHing and basically a lot of his days off or DH days. So he works hard to keep himself available and be out there for his team every day.
So is he like Marcus, who gets mad at you if you say maybe you should take a day off?
Marcus is on a different level. Marcus is literally a fist fight and trying to give him a day off. I mean, it's the most uncomfortable guy to talk to try to give an off day that I've had in all my years of managing. So that's a positive, though. I mean, he wants to play. He wants to be out there for his team.
Dick?
We got one from Dublin. Carrie from Dublin would like to ask this.
Hi, I was wondering, what's your opinion on the pace of play? Do you think the game's too slow? Are you in favor of pitch clock?
Is that an issue right now, this pace of play thing? I guess it is. Huh? A lot of talk about it. Bob, what do you think?
Yeah, you know, I think one thing about baseball, it's the only timeless game that there is, and I like that. Granted, these games are getting pretty long, and I think we're trying to reach a different crowd, maybe a younger crowd that wants maybe a little quicker pace. So I think as far as us and the union and MLB, we're trying to speed the game up. It's a very difficult process to do because you have routines that you're used to doing. So it's going to take an effort at all different levels to try to speed this thing up to make it a little more fan-friendly.
Billy, what do you think? I mean, pace of play and time of game, right? It is 2 different things, although they kind of work together.
Yeah, I think you make a good point, Glenn, with the commission play is there's a lot of time that we could actually make up for, speed up. There's things that take too long. I don't think they're trying to force the game. Everyone loves the pace of baseball to some extent. That's one of the beauties of it. But there are things that we can certainly, guys stepping up. I will say this, I love the postseason games when 6-hour games are going on, and I've got Sunday night. I think they're season. I understand why we're trying to do it, and I think in the long run it'll be a good thing. So I think the commissioner's been very progressive and has some great ideas that maybe sound fangled, but I think in the end will help all of us enjoy the game a little more. So selfishly during the postseason, when a Sunday night goes from 4 to midnight, it's wonderful, especially with the games we had last year. It was really a lot of fun, so I enjoyed the heck out of the season. It's nice to kind of speed them up.
But we don't know what yet, but something's going to happen, obviously, for this season, so it'll just be interesting to see what it is. Carl?
Zach Tracy with another player question.
So I was wondering about what this Dorian Blanco, and really young, about $8 million bonus when he's going to be in AAA ball and player. I believe signed a lot of players with -59.
Yeah, the name, just a little bit louder.
Dorian Blanco.
Dorian Blanco, Cuban.
Yeah, he's our expert. Dan Feinstein's our expert. We've actually, in general, we've been very aggressive in the Latin American market. We spent more in the last couple of years, particularly the Cuban market. Lazarito is probably the highest profile kid. So Dan Feinstein heads that. He could tell you everything about every one of those guys. In fact, I think he actually sent a real nice email. Is he over here? Fine. Benny. We got a Latin American. Anyways, he's gonna. You can run over Dan. I'll give you a cell phone number. But again, I think in general, our Latin American programs, there's been a lot of emphasis and investment in that and so we're excited about it. We think it's come a long way.
Robert from Hercules would like to ask a question.
Good morning, guys. I have actually 2 questions about 2 different players. One is Matt Olson, who last year was coming up at the beginning of the year, and it didn't seem to have the confidence, and he was only out for a couple bats a couple times, and then you got to see him really flourish. Bob, for you, what was it that kind of got him over the hump there?
You're talking about Olson? Yeah, just consistent playing time, and you know, then you get off to, you know, when we brought him up the last time, we told him, hey, look, you're first base every day. Billy even told me, don't hit for this guy. You know, I tend to hit for guys sometimes on let's give an opportunity, and it was the opportunity and took advantage of it, and that's what the big leagues are all about. You know, you're not going to get something handed to you. You have to get there and have an opportunity, and he did that. And I think it was more the fact that once we traded Yonder, he got a chance to play every day. Always thought very highly of Matt Olson and felt like he was going to be a big part of the process going forward.
Bob, I remember you and I talking about Olson early in the year. I said, listen, do you think if I think he's going to be fine, and he was.
Defensively, he's absolutely terrific over there. At our ballpark, for our infielders, if you have a tall first baseman that's good defensively, goes along. Throw at our place, it's 2 bases, you know, with the foul ground there. So to have a big target like him over there certainly makes our infielders feel it too.
Well, you know what? We're going to have one more question. Who's grand finale? Where's Cara? Grand finale.
Bob from Tracy, take that one. Another coaching staff question.
Yes, this is directed to either Bob or Billy. It's so great that the team is so young, and there's certainly an upside on that. And I know with the addition of possibly Rick Williams, that veteran leadership is important in developing the young players. Can you possibly touch upon what they might bring to the table as far as young players?
Yeah, Ricky, you're talking about Ricky Henderson. He's more and more, and he's impactful just when he walks out into the clubhouse. I mean, and Matt Williams, same light. I mean, they're big league guys that just ooze that confidence, and guys give respect to right away based on the fact of what they got careers. And you know, it always factors in on your staff. You always want to have at least a couple guys there that get their attention, that know what these guys had to do to accomplish that. So Matt Williams is going to be terrific for our guys. I think the timeliness of him here with a guy like Olson and guys like that is going to be impactful for him. And I tell Billy all the time, as much as we can have Ricky, we like to have him here. It's his field, and the field's named after him, for crying out loud, and get him out there as much as we can. I know he likes being with our younger guys too, and with the athleticism and what he was all part of. He's going to be a big part of it too.
All right, that's it, folks. Let's hear it for our 2 great guests, Tony Beane, Bob Melvin. Great questions. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of this wonderful FanFest and this wonderful training starts
that's
in.
It for this part of the FanFest. I think
so,
one of you.
We'll see you down in Arizona. Thanks, everybody.
Thomas, I don't know if you're still on the stream, but you asked me a question regarding the stadium. And first of all, I mentioned that Howard Terminal should have been selection a long time ago. The mayor really didn't on that. That's the first thing. Also, hey, how you doing? Hey, what do you think about this? Tell me.
Great, man, great.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. You know, spring training's around the corner. Season's ahead of us. A lot of young development, you know, ahead of us for the team. We're looking forward.
Hey, what'd you think about what you heard today?
It's great. It's great. But you know, what I heard is positive. So, you know, representing Oakland, representing the players, the team. Yeah. It's all good.
Hey, where do you want to see the stadium?
Man, right here.
Right, I heard
right
that.
Here.
High five, man. Howard Terminal. Absolutely, man. Yeah.
Nothing bad to say really about Peralta or the Coliseum site, but man, Jack London right here.
This is it. Yeah.
Still close to down. Nice views of the bay with the East Oakland Hills in the back.
Yeah.
Can't get no better.
Go A's.
Yeah, go A's, man.
Go Oakland.
Right. Yeah,
hey, man,
exactly.
thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it. Thank you. It's very nice. You know, always great to see people who and everything else. This is nice. This is what the Raiders should do in Oakland if Mark's to make a signal that he really is committed to Oakland. It's a matter of time. Now, what they're doing over there is, I think that's the player meeting. That's what they're doing over there, right? So, but let's stick around and, yeah, that's what they're doing over here, right over there. That's what they're doing over there, right? So player autographs and all that. So like I said, I'm going to take you on a walk around here so you can see what's going on. I can't read that comment. Oh, predictions. You know, I don't like to make predictions with stadium development because it's so complicated. I will tell you I advocate for Howard Terminal. And that's why I don't like to make a prediction. The question is, you know, what are you willing to fight to make happen? And I think Howard is worth fighting for. It should have been really at Uptown, all right? California Governor Jerry Brown didn't want. He was, and he won. There wasn't any council member that wanted to overrule him, although it could. He won, by the way, folks. Now, there's no question but that his win to Oakland's development fortunes. A baseball stadium downtown and uptown would have put Oakland at that. It already isn't, right? But that would have done it without question. So, but it didn't happen. So that she'll be thought of as anti-homeless, that she's not taking necessary actions to lead development. Enough of my opinion. Hey, how you doing? Let me explain to you what's happening here. I'm going to take a look. I'm going to go off this line right now. Take a little break. So I'll be back from FanFest. Hey. Oh